What got you involved in the Occupy movement?
Extreme frustration. We got a lot of problems in this country. People are frustrated across the nation. We don't believe that the government is doing all it can do. There's a lot of inter-office or intergovernmental bickering. Republicans are fighting with Democrats. There's a lot of non-activity as far as recovery of the economy, as far as helping the general populace with job creation. They're taxing us. There's a lot of issues that a lot of people are frustrated with, and I was absolutely delighted to see college students in New York picketing Wall Street, because Wall Street has gotten away with a lot of money that they did not earn. The government gave it to them, which it was not something that the American public asked them to do. They were hoping that the banking industry would do the right things with the money and stimulate the economy, but instead they just gave themselves big fat bonuses and just left everybody in the country dangling. And I guess to some degree I wanted to send a message to my politicians, to our elected officials, and let them know, you're supposed to be working for us. You're supposed to be helping us, not slowly eroding the fabric of this country, the working class people. A lot of good people in this country that elected them, and these same people are going to turn on them. The frustration level is just unbelievable. And another thing is, I'm a veteran of the United States Armed Forces. I was honorably discharged. I have a right to speak my mind to my government. It's almost to the point where it's almost like the colonial days where we had taxation without representation, where the government just does whatever they want to do, and they feel like we're not going to say anything or do anything to keep them accountable. And so I'm here to tell them that, I count. I'm one voice, one vote. I count. And I'm going to tell everybody I know to join this movement and to make a positive, impactful change without violence, but to let this government know they can't continue to do business as they've been doing it and not be held accountable. Government has to start doing better things, making better choices for our benefit.
And how do you feel that the Tallahassee Occupy movement has addressed these issues?
I think they've addressed these issues that I've brought up and many more. In fact, I'm learning from the Occupy movement. They actually have educational classes for the general populace to educate them what's going on in our country, what forces are being influenced, how we can affect change. So an educated consumer is a nightmare for the government. An educated voter is another nightmare. An educated public that knows where our tax dollars are being funneled and how they're being ciphered into the back pockets of corporate America, how our government just does what they want to do without any repercussions from the public. That's the beginning of the end for them. They're pretty much on notice that the American public is going to hold them accountable at election time. And I love President Obama. I love this country. I love my Congress. I love my senators. I love my House of Representatives. But I'll fire you. I'll do it with a vote, man. I'll put you right out into the cold like everybody else is. You can't think that we're not going to say something to you. You can't think that we're not going to vote you out of office. We will start a brand new political system, one that does not depend on partisanship, one that does not pollute our world indiscriminately with fractured drilling that was passed under the Halliburton Law, whatever you want to call it. We're polluting Yellowstone, our national parks, the homes that are all throughout America that are finding water coming out of their faucets that you can light a match to. That's not cool, man. We had BP come down here and pollute our Gulf of Mexico. That pollutant is still there. I don't see anybody hiring the American public to go clean that up. Government's not doing enough. They're talking about getting rid of the EPA. Who's going to keep these guys in check if we don't have an EPA? Who's keeping the EPA in check? They didn't do enough to make sure that BP oil company was doing their job. You know, it's frightening to know that our government cares so little about us that they want to just do what they want to do and say, don't worry about it, nobody's going to say anything, and we're all exempt from congressional efforts and presidential orders and stuff. We're going to hold you accountable. These are crimes against humans, these are crimes against nature, and you know, we will pass laws, we will make sure you pass laws to hold you accountable. And this stuff about a congressman being paid $200,000 for the rest of his life, when I lost my job, it was no more money. Nobody came to me and said, well, you did a great job for 5 years or 10 years. Here's your severance for the next 20. That doesn't happen in the American public. Why should it happen in Congress? Why should it happen in the Senate? Why should it happen in the presidency? If you do a lousy job, why should you be entitled to tax money when you're not doing the job anymore? You got Secret Service taking care of you. You're going out there and doing whatever you think is appropriate for your life. You've made it to the higher echelon, the 1%. 99% of America knows that you don't deserve what you're doing wrong to get a benefit in financial endorsements. The Congress doesn't get any kind of bill from the federal government for health care. But come out here and work with us and see what kind of bill we get. If we get sick, injured on the job, we've got to go through 5 miles of red tape to make claims against workman's compensation. And every time you make a presentation, you're trying to be fraudulent. You're trying to defraud the system. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Congressman. If you are defrauding the American public, we can hold you accountable for your actions, because we didn't give you permission to give money to the big banking industry, to take jobs and send them overseas. What about the American people? Don't we matter to you? Don't we have a say in how our future is shaped? I'm a homeless American veteran, and I was appalled to be disrespected under President Bush, under Vice President Dick Cheney, to have Michael Chertoff come on national television and say the biggest threat this country faces after 9/11 was from its own American veterans. Guess what? We got about 50 or 60,000 of them coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq. An unpopular circumstance, by the way. We still haven't found any weapons of mass destruction, but it cost the American taxpayers on average of about $1 billion a month to be there. How long have we been there? About 10 years before President Obama said enough is enough, the American people are through with it. We still haven't found those weapons of mass destruction. But we have a habit of sticking our nose in other people's business around the world, and then when they turn around and use those weapons against us and revolt against us, like in Libya, like with the Ayatollah Khomeini or whoever else we put in power, and then when they don't do what we want them to do, they come back at us, then we go in there and kill everything in sight and take over their government and then hand it back to them with another puppet government. We are the American public. We know when we're being told a lie, like you told us in Iraq. It was a strategic position that you wanted to get. You wanted to send a message to the United Arab Emirates. You wanted to have a launching pad from your naval embargo, blockade, whatever you want to call it, just to get soldiers resupplied in that remote country called Afghanistan. And the only way you could do that is to take out Saddam Hussein. I don't care about Saddam Hussein. He was probably a jerk anyway. But I'm not a jerk. I'm not a terrorist. If you think that my voice is being terroristic, think again. Wait till I get to the voting ballots. I'll show you terrorism from the U.S. point of view. I will vote you all out of office. I will tell everybody around that will listen to me to fire everybody from the president on down. I want a job. I'm a homeless vet. I've been on the streets for 3 years. Where's my job?
And what did you serve before?
United States Army Infantry. I was in environmental science for 25 years. I worked in protecting my environment. I worked through the EPA, Department of Agriculture, U.S. Forestry, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Florida Game and Freshwater Fish Commission, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department. I'm a FEMA CERT team member, Federal Emergency Management Agency. I'm trained in disaster preparation, recovery, response. And when the oil spill took place in the Gulf of Mexico, as a homeless veteran, you know what? I was absolutely looked over because I didn't have a hazmat card. But my background said I'm an expert in the field. 25 years working with chemical applications. I know about personal protective equipment, how to identify hazardous materials. I know about this environment. I've lived here since 1989. Let me show you something, Mr. Congressman. I am studying in college to do exactly what you were negligent in doing. You did not have somebody from the EPA on board the derrick out there in the Gulf of Mexico when the safety officer said clearly, you have dangerous situation here, shut everything down. Instead, you allowed BP to override a safety officer, cause an explosion, kill 11 people on board that derrick, and give us the greatest environmental pollution in U.S. history. It makes the Exxon Valdez look like a few drops at a gas pump just came out of a doggone hose. And we're going to have the impact of that for many, many, many decades. We're still finding oil on the Alaskan shores. The oil that is in the environment is killing the ecosystem. It's killing plankton, it's killing butterfly crustaceans, it's killing coral reefs. The fish that eat these smaller, bottom of the food chain animals are going to be affected. At what point do we say, we got to do something about this? As the Gulf Stream circumnavigates the globe, these pollutants are going to kill other ecosystems. We have to feed the populace of the world. We just had 7 billion people, a landmark for people on this planet. The United States is responsible for feeding 2/3 of the world. And yet we are paying farmers to not grow product. That's insanity. And then they say, okay, environmental specialists are issuing alerts saying, don't eat certain fish because it contains mercury. It contains PCBs or whatever else that's in the environment. The toxins, the pH balance in the ocean is changing. Things are dying. We are next. And what good is it to eat freshwater fish when they've got to contend with fractured drilling that Mr. President George Bush and Vice President Dick Cheney signed into law to go ahead and allow this to happen across America so that the fresh water is affecting humans, polluting our environment that has never ever seen before. How are you going to eat? You can't eat flounder from the ocean and you can't eat tilapia from fresh water. What are we left with? The birds are going to die. They're the next sensitive system that's on the way out. You know, we spend billions of dollars in space exploration over the last 25 years since I was a child, and yet we spend billions of dollars going across the water to countries that really don't deserve it. They hate our guts. And we have hungry people in America. People that want to work, people that put you in office, people that pray to your God as well as mine. It's one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. Where's the liberty? Where's the justice for all? Who gave you permission to take my civil liberties out of my Constitution by imposing the Patriot Act, which has all but shredded the United States Constitution? If you think I'm speaking gibberish, just wait till the masses speak the same language I do. Wait till they understand the dynamic of what this country is doing to the general populace. We need judicial reform. We need medical care to the major people that need it, the elderly. You need to start supplementing these doctors at whatever cost. You need to start providing healthcare clinics across this nation. You need to educate the consumer. You need to stop polluting our water, stop polluting our air, make tough laws that affect big business, not the little guy that drives industry. Do the things that are proper. Do the things that are environmentally sound. Don't take it out on us. Don't come to our rallies and shoot us and beat us as though we are some sort of dangerous group trying to overthrow the government. We will. We'll do it at the polls. we will vote you out, and we will turn our backs on you. I promise we will turn our backs on you. If I have anything to say about it, I'm going to treat you just like you treat me. Do unto others as you have had done to you.
And what is your name?
Carl Patrick Casey, United States Army Infantry, 77 to 81.
I appreciate your service. We all appreciate your service.
Thank you.